Calling to order the Brainerd HRA Board of Commissioners meeting for January 28th, 2026. The roll call has gone around, if anyone has not signed that yet. At this point, we're item 3, looking for approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
Erickson, approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Ally.
All righty, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We're on to item 4, annual meeting. We begin with a oath of office.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will take that. That is on page 3 of your packet, also up on the screen there. Typically at annual meetings, all new or reappointed members are given the oath of office. The board elects officers for the upcoming year and the bylaws are reviewed. And a meeting schedule is established for the upcoming year. If you recall, last month, we actually set that meeting schedule for this year, realizing that doing that this year just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So we are reinstituting or doing the oath of office for 2 of our current board members that did both get reappointed by the city council. That is Mr. Duvall and Mr. Erickson. Page 9 and page 11 of the packets are the official oaths of office, and if you are okay, I will do the oath of office for each of you separately, or actually if you'd rather do it together, you guys can say your own names. I'd be happy to do it that way.
Let's do it that way.
Okay.
That sound like fun, Wayne?
Yes. So if you wouldn't mind just repeating after me, I state your name.
I, Michael Duvall,
I, Wayne Erickson,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties as a Commissioner
discharge the duties as a Commissioner
of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority
of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority
in and for the City of Brainerd,
in and for the City of Brainerd,
to which I have been appointed to the best of my knowledge
to which I have been appointed to the best of my knowledge
and ability.
and ability.
So help me God.
Help me
so help me
God.
God.
Thank you, you two. You are both officially in for another 5-year term. Appreciate your willingness to continue to serve. That isn't a sentence by any means. If something comes up, you certainly can resign from the board, but you are now reappointed for a 5-year term, which is that statutory limit kind of for an HRA commissioner.
Harmony.
Next item of business, I'll just keep kind of going along since we technically do not have a chair during our annual meeting. This is the election of officers, and so according to our bylaws, the chair and vice chair and then the secretary treasurer shall be elected at the annual meeting of the HRA, which is the first meeting in January. To refresh your memories, the 2025 slate, so last year's officers and commissioners were the chair was Michael Duvall, the vice chair was Kevin Yeager, Ali Verkota was the secretary treasurer. We rounded out the board with Wayne Erickson, Janet Decker, Justin Grasula, and Katie now Imgrund, previously Deblock. So we do have the process of electing either a slate of officers through all 3 at once, or we can go item by item. I will have to request nominations 3 times. So be aware of that, and that is just proper procedure on that. And I guess I will open up nominations, at least for our chair for the 2026 year. Do we have any nominations for board chair for this coming year?
Can I nominate all 3 to be reelected?
You certainly are able to do that.
Well, I would make a motion or,
I will have to call for additional nominations, just for procedure, but it sounds to me like you are putting forward Michael Duvall for the chair, Kevin Yeager for the vice chair, and Ali Verkota for the secretary treasurer. Is that correct?
that is my desire, yes.
Okay, so we've got nomination for those 3 for the respective positions. I will ask another time just for the board chair. Do we have any other nominations for our board chair for 2026? Ask a second time. Any other nominations for board chair? Third and final time, any other nominations for our board chair for 2026? Moving on, I will then open it up for our vice chair position. We do have one nomination currently for Kevin Yeager. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Commissioner Ali Verkota for the position of vice chair.
Okay. We've got two nominations. Do we have any additional nominations for our vice chair? Third and final time, any other nominations for our vice chair? Okay. Third and final position, secretary treasurer. We do have also a nomination for Ali Verkota for 2026. Are there any other nominations for secretary treasurer?
I'd like to nominate the commissioner formerly known as Deblock for the position of treasurer. Ingram, is that?
Good.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Katie for that position.
Katie Imgrund as the second nomination. Are there any other nominations for secretary treasurer? Any other nominations for secretary treasurer? Third and final time, any additional nominations for secretary treasurer? Hearing none, I will close those nominations for those three executive positions on the Board of Commissioners. Since we do have multiple nominations for two positions, we won't do a slate voting. So I will ask for a vote, and maybe we'll do roll call for this, I believe. I think that makes sense. Roll call vote for our chair. We may not need to since it's running unopposed, but we'll go with Imgrund,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Grasula,
Yes.
Verkota,
Yes.
and Duval.
Yes.
Mr. Duval will be our continuing chair for the 2026 session. All right, I will open up a vote. Trying to remember how we do this on a
Do you do like a?
vested, feel like a ballot. I feel like we've done secret ballots on
I
those.
can't remember how we did it before. We've done it. I know
I
I've been
know.
here.
It's been so long. I think I would rather open it up for a kind of a ballot, but I don't know if we have any paper for that. All right. Perfect, so, sorry for the pause, but
I've got some little pieces here.
I double-sided my book here today.
no, we're good. We'll just, if we can, yep.
Thank you.
Yep, that would be okay for me. And I can tally, and if there is a tie, because there are 6 commissioners, then we'll have to figure something else out. So, reminder for the vice chair nominations were for Mr. Yeager or Ms. Verkota, and for secretary treasurer, Ms. Verkota or Ms. Imgrund.
Thank you, Wayne. This one was more exciting.
I've got a vote for vice chair for Verkota and a secretary treasurer for Imgrund. I've got a vote for vice chair for Verkota and a treasurer secretary for Ms. Imgrund. I've got a vote for vice chair Verkota and a secretary treasurer for Imgrund. I've got a vote for vice chair for Verkota and secretary treasurer for Imgrund. Got a vote for Ms. Verkota for vice chair and secretary treasurer for Imgrund. And we got a vote for vice chair for Verkota and secretary treasurer for Imgrund. So it is unanimous. The slate of officers are as voted on. Chair will be Mr. Duval. Vice chair will be Ms. Verkota, and secretary treasurer will be Ms. Imgrund. Thank you, everybody, for going through that process. I will then hand the official meeting back over to our new chair for the next year, which is Mr. Duval.
And I'm going to take this moment to ceremonially pass the check signing pen that unfortunately has died.
I can probably find one of these.
I have one.
Do you have one?
I hope you
Thank
can.
you. I think I might be able to.
It makes the checks more fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, officers, new officers coming in. And I think now we're at review of bylaws. Let's see.
Yes, and Mr. Chair, those start on page 5. We always like to put this in front of the Board of Commissioners every year. If we are recommending any changes to those bylaws, we typically do that at this meeting. We are not recommending any changes currently. The last time this was revised, as you can see, was June of 2019. If there are no changes or no discussion, we are able to just move on as we've reviewed them. So that will be left to you and the commissioners.
Thank you, Eric. Any discussion or recommended points of attention on the bylaws? Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you for that one. So we're on to item 5 of the agenda, looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting of December 17th, 2025.
I'll make that motion, Verkota.
Is there a second?
Second, Ursula.
All right, any discussion on those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We're on to item 6, unfinished business. Hey, there's none. Let's move on to item 7, the new business. We have a designation of the official depository for the Brainerd HRA. And Karen, is that yours?
It is, Chair Duval, I can take
Thank
that
you.
one. So every year, we come before the board pursuant to Minnesota Statute 118A.02. The Brainerd HRA shall designate as a depository of its funds one or more financial institutions. At this time, the official depository is Old National Bank, so we come before the board asking for approval of that designation.
All righty, thank you. Any questions of staff? Yes, Mr. Gasula.
Does this limit us to only using Old National for depository services?
We did go out for requests for proposals at the end of 2023 and went through that procurement process. Because we administer federal programs, we follow the federal procurement process in that respect. So we did go out, so that would put us for a 5-year term through 2028. That being said, we're not under contract, but if we were to change depositories, then we'd want to go through that process.
And we could make a motion at that time to change the depositories?
Correct, yep, we go through a whole,
I just want to make sure we aren't
Process.
stuck if something happens.
And we don't need to wait until 2028. I think I'll chime in a little bit here. So, I'm sure people are at least aware that Bremer was sold to Old National Bank. There was some upheaval in local staff at that particular branch less than maybe about a month ago. With that, our local contacts did change, which, does happen from time to time in the banking world. I spoke with staff immediately following that change in staffing at that bank, just to say, hey, let's monitor this. If there are pain points, if there are issues, please bring them to my attention so we can assess any potential changes, knowing that we do have the opportunity to go for an RFP if we would like to. At this point, staff is business as usual with what we're doing. There are, as with any banking relationship or any kind of service relationship, it's never perfect, but at this point, I think staff is comfortable with where we're at, knowing that at any point, if it gets, to a point where we are not happy with the services we're receiving, that we can come back and recommend going out for an RFP. The good thing is, from the board's perspective, when we do that RFP, we did have at least one member of the board that sat in on that process, reviewed applications, and so that is an interactive process between staff and the board. But at this point, our recommendation would be to stay with Old National, and we're, I would say we're monitoring the situation for any issues that we might have, but staff is business as usual.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Actually, another, sidebar again. So we did discuss this. We have to do an official depository with Crow Wing County HRA as well on a yearly basis. So we had that meeting 2 weeks ago. That board did have a little bit of a discussion similar to what we might expect here, just questioning Old National Bank or the relationship that we have there. They went so far as to urge that the Brainerd HRA board review and look at doing an RFP at some point sooner rather than later. Was the wording from there. Again, from a staff perspective, we're not recommending that at this point. I think the board's perspective from the Crow Wing County HRA's perspective was personal experience that they've had with Old National Bank. We certainly understand that. Again, that's why I'm asking staff to monitor that on a consistent basis. So if we do have pain points, that we're addressing it sooner rather than later. But did want to make sure that was brought up to this board, that conversation did happen at our Crow Wing County HRA board meeting.
Thank you, Eric. So I think it's important to recognize and acknowledge the Crow Wing HRA board's recommendation to this board. So I think that's duly noted, and based on the conversation we've had just moments ago here about the opportunity to be able to revisit this discussion and this through a new process or renewing a process and calling out for financial individuals. I think we're comfortable right now. I would think it's fair to say that our finance folks are probably neck deep in audits and everything else at this point. So timing-wise, it would not be something we'd want to jump out of the gate on. So I think we can come back, and knowing we have the flexibility to be able to redo and call and redo this process for selecting an official depository, I think we're comfortable. So I would be looking for a motion to designate Old National Bank as the Brainerd HRA official depository.
I will make that motion, Wayne Erickson, that we stay with Old National.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I am going second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We are now on to 7B, an update to the employee policy manual.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. That memo is on page 19, is up on your screen. Couple of updates just from state statute perspective that went into effect January 1st of 2026. The Minnesota legislature modified the language surrounding meal and break times for hourly employees, kind of absent a collective bargaining agreement, which we don't have with any of our staff. The language changed the wording from permit to allow a meal break of 30 minutes for an employee that works more than it's actually more than 6 consecutive hours. The language was also updated from permit to allow employees to take a rest break of at least 15 minutes within each 4 consecutive hours of work. We've had our attorney update the language in our employee policy manual, specifically in section 5.04, which is actually a meal and break section for our employee policy manual. That really is to just mirror the amended state statute governing rest and meal break requirements. It does avoid unintentional deviations from the law and ensures employees are getting what they are entitled to. You'll see that snippet in the middle of the page there that shows the slight difference or differentiation in the timing or the words. So we're looking at that as far as a change to our employee policy manual. We're also looking at a change to the Minnesota paid leave. If you recall, that is also a new piece of legislation that was effective January 1st of this year. We are including those updates to our employee policy manual to add section 6.02, which reflect the statutory requirements for employers and employees for such leave. Minnesota's paid leave law provides most employees with up to 20 weeks of combined paid family and medical leave per year. Program is funded through a 0.66 payroll premium. That's a little bit smaller than what you might have read in the paper of a 0.88 due to, and Karen, correct me on the 0.66, is that because we are a small entity?
Correct.
Yep, so we are a small employer in the state of Minnesota's eyes. So again, what you may have read in the papers is a 0.88 payroll premium. It's actually 0.66 for small employers, split between employers and employees. Leave benefits are paid by the state of Minnesota with partial wage replacement based on an employee's earnings. Attached for your review is are the updated sections of our policy manual along with a marked up version so you can see what actually changed. We typically do that when we're presenting these changes to you. To remain compliant with state law, we're also updating our stated regular workday, which previously was from 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We are reflecting that from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. now to account for that legislation. Per the Department of Labor's literature on that new statute, they do allow for a waiver or acknowledgement from staff if staff are choosing to deviate from those requirements listed above. We did have our legal staff draft such an acknowledgement, and we got a chance to review that today, so it's not in our packet. But it does allow us, historically, our staff has worked from 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And have historically taken their paid breaks at the end of the day to allow for them to leave at 4:30. With this waiver, which is allowed by state statute and from Department of Labor, the waiver does allow for employees, if they would like to continue that schedule, to basically state that they're going to opt out of taking those breaks within those 4-hour timeframes and add that to the end of their day. Again, we looked at it from a staff perspective where we didn't want to have a net loss in perceived benefit for our staff because I think that's one of the selling points for our staff to be able to work that schedule. This allows them to do that, or it allows them to take their breaks, take their lunch period, just like is in our employee policy manual, and they've always been able to do that. It just allows us to track that correctly with this adjustment to state statute. With that, I would open it up for questions. If there are none, we would be looking for an approval of Resolution 2026-01 to update the hours of work, meals, and breaks, and Minnesota paid leave section of our employee policy manual. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Questions for staff on the change? Mr. Erickson?
Can that change week to week?
They could, and so as we looked at the waiver that was presented to us by legal today, the employee would need to then tell us that they're no longer waiving that right, and if there's a one-time thing, that's one thing. They could tell us, hey, I just want to do this for the day or the week. So we're working through some of that, but they can change it at any point that they want, and that will not reflect upon the staff at all, like one way or the other. We're basically just looking at it to say, you know, we're always going to comply with state law. That's why we're updating our employee policy manual. If you would like to stick with the schedule that you had been working, this is the method to be able to do that per what the state allows. But you can choose one way or the other, or you could do it more than once. But you know, from a administrative standpoint, we just got to make sure we got those waivers updated.
So it would be more of a hassle to do it on a monthly basis or every?
I don't know that in practice that's going to happen, but we've got the
I was
method.
just thinking of health reasons.
Sure.
Maybe I need to take a break now. I didn't plan on it for 6 months, but now I have to because of my health.
Yeah, there's no, it's an administrative making sure that we're keeping track of it. I wouldn't say it's a pain.
Okay. Thank you.
And it's a new process, so we'll feel it out the best that we can.
Thank you.
Other questions of staff? This will not have an effect on staffing during the public open hours of the office.
It would not.
All right, well, with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve the resolution, and I'm looking for that number. Page 19. Hey, there it is, Resolution 2026-01. I should have been able to crack that code. For the indicated changes to the employee manual.
I'll make that motion, Verkota, for as stated in the packet.
Thank you. Is there a second, please?
Second, Ursula.
Right, any further discussion on that? Hearing none, we're going to call the roll, please.
We'll call the roll, yep. Grasula,
Yes.
Imgrund,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Verkota,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
And Duval.
Yes, so that motion passes, and that completes our new business. We're on to Bills and Communications, item 8A, Financial, Finance Director Young.
Excellent. Thank you, Chair Duval. My memo is on page 61 and coming up on the screen as well, attachment 5. Go. Okay, I just have several December and year-end updates for the board. So the first one would be that we did process the final payment for our North Star project. That was a big one. In December to urban companies, that was in the amount of $136,562. We did process a draw that covered a majority of that out of our 2024 capital fund grant, and then that fully closed out that grant. The total contract amount for that project was $950,000, and the project is complete. So was a big project for our staff. Also, in December, we processed the first payment for the North Star office remodel, and that was to High Tech Construction. That amount was for $54,175, and we did process a draw out of our 2025 capital fund grant in January to cover that payment. And the total contract amount for that project is $139,164. And that one's still in progress. And then as far as our 2025 levy payments and our December financials, we did receive our second half settlement, and that was in the amount of $74,837. That's reflected in our general fund financial statements. And for the year to date then, for levy, we received $171,641, and our total approved levy for last year was $173,960. And then we continue to collect as the county collects payments on that. We'll continue to receive levy payments on that. And then we also received for our downtown TIF district, our tax increment financing district, we received a total of $20,198 in that. And just to refresh the board, we do have an interfund loan between our general fund and that TIF district. In years past, the board pledged part of our levy to cover the debt service on that. It was actually Brainerd HRA debt. That debt has been fully paid off. So now as we're continuing to collect increment, we're getting paid back for previous dollars that we used for that debt service. So, and that TIF district decertifies the end of 2031. So we'll continue to collect repayments on that. And then at our December meeting, the board had asked staff about coming back with additional information regarding the revenue recapture process. We had written off debt last month, and the board had some questions, so we did go back to staff and get some specifics on that. Again, revenue recapture allows housing authorities to collect outstanding balances from our tenants or participants through any state returns that the tenant is entitled to. And the collection window to recover outstanding balances is a 6-year statute of limitations. I think at our meeting, the board thought it was 7 years, but it's actually 6 years that we can go back and collect. So Roberta did check into the revenue recapture system. She said, looking back at the past 6 years, we submitted approximately 120 claims totaling $240,000 from our 5 programs: public housing, housing choice voucher, Valley View, Trail Ridge, and College Drive. And according to the revenue recapture system, we have recovered approximately $145,000 during that time. And again, the collections recovered over that 6-year period would have included payments for older claims than that 6 years, but it does give you a glimpse into the recovery rate. So very, very significant for our agency. And then also reflected in the payments that the board will approve, we did have a payment to to Integrated Protection Systems, IPS, for the Valley View Salto keyless lock system that we had installed. That payment was for $34,254. And then every year at this meeting, we always just make a disclaimer to the board that we're continuing to make year-end adjustments for audit and doing entries so that our financials that we're presenting right now aren't final. We haven't completed all of our audit adjustments. And then we'll have that completed before we submit to REAC. And then just to remind the board also that 2025 is a scoring year for us. So HUD will be scoring us on our public housing for all of our activity during the previous year. And then our audit schedule with Clifton Larson Allen, our audit will be the second week in February for this, for Brainerd HRA, Crow County HRA, and then our Brainerd South compilation are the fourth week in February. And then we have our financials that have to be submitted to REAC through the HUD system by the end of February. And then Brainerd South is the end of March. So again, then on the next page of the packet, we do show our ratios for the end of the year. So if HUD were to come in and score us based on the financials that we had prepared at this time, you can see through all of the, at the end of the columns there, we'd have full points for that, for the financial and management side of things. And that is 60 points out of the 100 points. And then the other 40 points will be our physical inspection of our public housing properties. Are there any questions at all regarding our financials for December?
Questions of staff? Karen, you know I wait all fiscal year for a perfect score on our ratios, and now you're telling me they're not finalized yet.
We're hoping they don't change. And
Thank you.
I have to say, the last time, 3 years ago when we were scored, I believe our score was 100 for all of it. So we can't get any better. I hope we're still there again. That would be fantastic.
Awesome, thank you. Mr. Erickson?
I was just gonna comment on the score. 60, that's fantastic. And why wouldn't we get another 40 on
Right,
facilities?
John? Why won't we?
I mean, it's wonderful. Thank you. It's just, this staff is phenomenal. But I did want to ask, and maybe I'm not seeing it or I don't know where to look. Where did we put that 145,000 that we received? Where did that go? Where does that fund, where does that,
From revenue recapture.
expect that to come back?
Oh, that is, actually, that's just, it is built into our budgets every year. That revenue is built into our budgets. And then it just goes into the funds where it originated. If it was public housing
Okay,
tenants, it goes to public housing. If it was Valley View, it would go into the Valley View operating account. So it goes to where the money is owed, where the tenant left owing money. It goes back into that property.
But it's all Santa Claus money.
Well,
We didn't
we've-
expect that to come back, did we? Or do we?
We're hopeful because that's actually money the tenant left owing us.
Yeah,
So yeah, we do hope it comes back to recover our costs. Yeah,
so it's not a collection agency, but they do allow us to take it from their income tax
correct,
returns.
correct. Yep.
Excellent. Thank
Excellent
you.
question, Mr. Erickson. Any other questions of staff on the budget? Otherwise, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the payments as presented.
I'll make that motion, Erickson.
Is there a second?
Second, Grasula.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Karen. And we are now on to the HCE report. Ms. Demo, please.
Thank you, Chair Duval. My report is attachment 6 on page 83 of the packet. So through the end of the year, we ended up with 96% of our unit months leased, and our HAP utilization was 103.39%. So as we had notified the board of before, we were intending to go into shortfall. So that's where that 103% comes from. Let's see, for vouchers, we were able to issue 6 new vouchers in December, with 8 lease-ups for January 1st. And then I believe as of today, we have 3 or possibly 4 for 2/1. And we will be notifying again next week, another batch of individuals, so we're gonna have lots out in the community. Speaking of new vouchers for the Bring It Home program, last Thursday, we sent out 425 notifications. So everybody from our HCV waiting list that was a Minnesota resident, there's a total of 433, and we sent out 425. So there's only 8 people on our waiting list that don't live in Minnesota. Everyone else was notified of the new Bring It Home program and sent an application. As of today, we have received 18 applications back so far since Monday. So we're on a roll. It begins. Let's see. As you guys know, the contract was signed and sent back to Minnesota Housing. We did receive our official notice as of December 31st that our contract has been fully executed and we can begin the program. Aside from that, on page 85 is our statistics. If anybody has any questions, I can answer that.
Questions of staff?
I have a question.
Yes, please, Ms. Vagoda.
Remind us, the Bring It Home it's structured the same way, so the same applicants
Yes.
kind of can apply? Okay.
It's just state funded.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's good. Is there a place like, if they weren't on the wait list already, is that online that they could apply as well for those vouchers or no?
We don't have the application online
Okay.
quite yet. I
Yeah,
do
I mean-
imagine we'll be getting it on our website.
425 is a lot to
Yes.
notify and get back already,
Yes,
but yes.
we're luckily had help from other
Yeah.
staff stuffing envelopes and we were,
Yeah.
able
And
to
it's
get them all
going
out.
okay, the management, and do we have someone? Are we looking?
Yeah, good question. So we did, we've notified or had it published that we were looking for a individual to fill that role. We had one interview that actually showed up. We had a couple more that just did not show up or could not make the interview. We did offer that position to the one applicant. We were very happy with that applicant. Unfortunately, they had already found another job within that week time frame that we got back to that individual. So we've got a couple more that we're scoring as far as applications, and we are trying to get some more applicants in and working with the city of Brainerd to do that. So hoping to fill that role as soon as possible. Obviously, that's going to be integral to getting some of these vouchers leased up and getting that team squared away. So more to come. Hopefully by next month, we'll have somebody hired, of all things considered. And looking forward to that, but job market is tough as well.
And the money for that hasn't come in yet, or does that, because we were supposed to get it up front, or how does that work?
Yeah, we can actually request up to 50% of the startup costs. We haven't done that yet. We really haven't incurred anything
Right.
to speak of and waiting to get someone hired. But yes, we can go ahead and now request up to 50%.
Sounds dandy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
Sounds like a
Erickson.
lot of postage to me. Did you mail all them, snail mail them?
Yes, we did.
Nobody was emailed about this.
Not yet. As of Monday, and I've given Chair or Katie over there what we're going to send to the service providers in the area. We do have just like an informational flyer that we're going to email out to the service providers that we know of, and as well as the applications.
Thank you.
Other questions of staff?
Just maybe just another note, we've, estimating we've got about 46-ish vouchers. So to have 18 respondents already is great. It's a great start. We've got about 46 to 49, I always forget the exact number, estimated that Minnesota Housing thinks we can actually have on the street and leased up. So not nearly as many as the 325 for the federal side that we have. So we're not flooding the market per se to negatively impact the federal program. Obviously, that's an important program for our success. But we're still thinking that that's going to be impactful. That's another 46 households that can get rental assistance in the county. This is insulated to Crow Wing County. We can't take state vouchers from outside of the county, and they can't take them. If they get them here, they can't move outside of the county as well. They can move within the county, but just can't be outside of it. So just a couple other notes as we get into this program for the board.
Thank you. Thank you, Mallory. So I think we're moving now to item 8C, Housing Management Report. Ms. Demmel.
Yes, thank you.
Again, excuse me.
You're fine. Thank you, Chair Duval. My housing management report will be on page 87 of the packet and up on the screen. For our vacancy report is attached on the next page. Looking at Valley View, we are again sitting at 100% occupancy. We did have one move out at the end of December, and then our waiting list is sitting at 25. Couple of Ross program updates. We did have 9 new enrollees in December, which is huge. 48 contacts with enrolled Ross participants and 6 contacts with non-enrolled residents for more limited resource and referral work. 30 residents receive our food box program each month for elderly tenants only. And we held 2 events in December, which were pest control prevention attended by 62 residents, and then a Ticket to Work webinar that talked about how to work while you're receiving disability benefits, and that was attended by 5 residents. Jumping into my property performance report, I'll just go through a couple highlights. 100% occupancy at our public housing properties. We did place 23 applications on the waiting list, and then 12 were denied. And then for our annual unit inspections, we did complete all 203 for 2025, so those are fully completed. And then something just outside of my report, I will be on an extended leave starting in early February. I hope to be back at the end of March, so I will unfortunately miss the February board meeting. But thankfully, I have a wonderful team around me who will be assisting in my absence. Other than that, that is all I have, unless there are any questions for me.
Questions of staff?
Oh, maybe just add a couple of things if there are no questions for Hannah. HUD inspections. So we've done all of our inspections recently, but now we've been notified that March 4th
Yes.
is going to be our public housing inspection for any property or any of our properties. So any of the units within North Star, any of our scattered site properties, we will be inspected on, forget the number, is it 18 units?
28.
28 units will be inspected on the 4th. And that is HUD, that is the new standard Inspired inspections. It's the first time that we've been through this in the Brainerd property or in the Brainerd public housing properties. We're going to see how things go. There are still some items that are in the Inspire standards that will not be scored, but this will be a scored inspection as well. So as we talk about having the 60 points for end of year on the finance side, this is where that other 40 points comes in. I know that a lot of my counterparts in the West Central District for other PHAs have done their Inspire inspections, and some of them have gone well, some of them have not gone well. Doesn't mean that those are bad agencies, but the having a new standard is always cause for a little bit of concern when we aren't sure exactly what HUD's eyes are going to be looking at. So we're very proud of the properties that we have, but we also have a lot of question marks on what that Inspire inspection will be. Again, staff does a good job with getting that prepared. Our tenants will likely have another round of inspections before we get to the HUD inspection, just to make sure that we're staying on top of any other work order issues that we see. So that is happening, and that is happening within the next month. So we'll be frantic getting things prepared for that while while we get prepared. And then lastly, as we talk about the Ross program, did want to update the board that we did have to terminate the Ross coordinator that has only been there for a couple of months. Did that last week. We will be looking at backfilling that, but likely won't be until Hannah gets back, just to give her the opportunity to go through that hiring process when she comes back from her leave. So wanted the board to be aware of that. Certainly not what we were anticipating, but we will move forward with that and get someone installed in there once we're able to get that posted properly.
Very good.
So
Yes, Ms.
there will be no one in the new office available for residents then?
No, our housing administrative specialist is still in that office, and we'll have a public housing office open on Tuesdays from 9 to noon.
Yep. So we're working on, obviously, the project to get the office space renovated is more or less finalized, but we're still doing a couple punch list items. We've got Hannah going out on an extended leave. We do have Lizzie there, so she will be taking some limited office hours as we ease back into getting that opened up. All of our tenants can still continue to come to the main office during our regular business hours. And so we're working through that as we try to get Lizzie trained up. And then obviously we're going to be a little bit limited with staffing for a little bit of time. But they can still continue to come to the main office, as they've been doing through that renovation as well. So.
All right. Any follow-up, Ms. Decker, at all? Okay, thank you. All right, so with that, we're moving on to the rehab programs report. Mr. Schomer.
Thank you, Chair, to all members of the board. That is on page 81 if you're following along, or up on the screen as well. Our small cities grants, we have the new grant for the streetscape. This is for the Washington Street remodel, I guess, or reconstruct. That'll be happening. Britt has had quite a heavy lift with that, been working a lot with the state and Connie here at the city. But the good news is we're kind of to the end for it. The request for release of funds, that time frame did pass. So we have gotten the go-ahead to utilize those funds. And again, that will be for $580,000. That's a direct benefit rate to the city that'll save them paying for, and that'll go straight to the street lighting. So the bidding was let, I believe, today or yesterday for that project. So they'll get the bids in soon and then get that project awarded. That construction is supposed to start this year on that. So with that one kind of being over the rush point, Britt has got back to our current small cities grant. We do have one person who's interested in our last unit for owner-occupied housing. We're working with that person on their application. We do have lots of units of the single-family rental rehab available. Again, that's $25,000. It's forgiven over a 5-year period. We have 5 units of that available currently, although we do have applications in for a couple of them, so we'll continue to work to get that carried out as well. We do have additional funds due to using some program income, so if we did have other property owners that would be interested past those 5, we have the funds. If it's an owner-occupied home or a single-family rental rehab home, we could help more than those goals that we were set for the grant itself. So the Housing Management Office, to Eric's point earlier, is essentially done. We're waiting on some fin tube radiation in the partition wall. It'll allow us to utilize the maintenance office and a meeting space separately. So, and then the current rehab projects and where they're going on are listed on the bottom. Any questions for me on anything?
Questions of staff?
Thank you.
Thank you, John, appreciate it. We are now to the Executive Director report. Mr. Charpentier.
Yes, thank you, Chair Duvall. My report is on page 93, also up on the screen there for you. Just a few updates. I think I may have touched on this briefly, but it wasn't in my written report last month. Just an update on 805 Laurel and kind of where things sit. Specifically from the Crow Wing County HRA's perspective, they had approved a loan through the Housing Trust Fund back in 2024 in support of that proposed redevelopment, commonly referred to as 805 Laurel. As there had been no substantial progress, which we know on that project. The Crow Wing County HRA Board did rescind that loan approval, which the developer was aware of prior to the action taken in December. There's no prohibition on that development group requesting funding at such a time that they are ready to move forward with their project, but there's also no guarantee that there would be any funds available in the trust fund at that time either. So really just they kind of go back to the drawing board from a request standpoint there. Developer is still committed to the site from what they've told me. They are the owners of the site. Do try to continue to stay in touch with them every month or two just to see how we can try to help support housing at this site for them and or any other developer that might come along in that manner. So just wanted to make sure that you were fully aware that that loan approval had been rescinded. Doesn't do anything on our side. We still do have a TIF district approved for that redevelopment, regardless of who or when or what they build. So we will be hopefully part of that process as we find a project that will move forward on that, and certainly could be with that same development team. Another update on the Wright Street extension. We continue to work with the developer that's interested in a tax credit project there, which is, again, city-owned land on Wright Street in Brainerd, southeast Brainerd. Speaking with that developer, they are having their architects currently review their proposed site plan to try to get an estimated acreage amount that they would need for that project. Once that has been decided, we will work with that developer to get a proposal to Camp Realty, who is actually the listing agent for the property on behalf of the Brainerd EDA, to request that a purchase agreement would be put together at that point for review at the next EDA meeting, which would be held in March, hoping to continue to move that towards that date. We would then ultimately still be in front of City Council if and when we get that far as a purchase agreement through the EDA. Staff will continue to work with city staff as well as Camp Realty on that proposed project, with the hope that a purchase agreement could be recommended for approval at a future meeting sometime March, April, with an eye on them trying to get a application submitted for July. And then just in general, kind of other development site opportunities, we continue to try to strategize on how we're going to continue to add or maintain housing within the city. We have started to look at available land that is for sale that may be suitable for housing development. We always look to find ways to leverage our limited resources, which is why we try to work with any other entities that might be able to provide land at a cheaper rate. But if we aren't able to do that, we do need to look at the market to see if we can get something moving. And so, between senior staff, we are looking at potential land that we aren't ready to probably publicize where that is yet. But we are moving in that direction to see if we can bring something to the board if we're able to secure some land for future development. At that point, once we have site control, the nice thing is we could really control the process from an RFP standpoint and look for a developer specifically for what we want to have built. So again, just working through some of our strategies. Always need to make sure that there's not just one project going. We need to make sure that there's multiple projects that we're trying to move forward so we have the best success rate that we can have. Wanted to make sure that the board is okay with staff looking at those opportunities. Again, we don't buy those things until we have approval from the board necessarily, but we do want to make you aware that we're out there looking. And I guess just looking for any guidance on if that's suitable for us. I know it really, we go back to our strategic kind of plans and goals. I know that is part of that, so just want to make sure that we're aligned with what the board wants us to do. With that, I would take any questions or throw it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Eric. Questions of staff? Yes, Ms. Pagoda.
Not necessarily a question, but I'll respond to that guidance question there, I guess. I think we talked a lot about it when we were approved for our levy too of the council. The city council also wanted to see more from this group of, tangible or be more tangible items that we're doing. So I think that's well use of staff time to do that and bring something forward and get something moving. So.
Thank you, Ms. Vakoda. Mr. Erickson.
Well, Mr. Charpentier, on the 805 Laurel, we're just in limbo?
Yes, as you may recall, the larger loan that they were requested and applied for through the state of Minnesota, that was, roughly a third of their costs for that project.
Yes.
And since that did not get approved, really difficult to find that gap at the moment. We continue to have discussions with that development group. They've got a lot of money invested already into that property. They know that they would like to see something happen sooner rather than later, but they don't have a concrete plan or a start date. Development is not necessarily a linear process. We know that. It can be frustrating, certainly frustrating for those that are excited about projects. We're certainly, I'm certainly guilty of being excited about something to happen there. But I think from this board's perspective, we are already out there in support as far as approving that TIF district with, in tandem with the city. We have done really everything that we can as a board here to support that. And just really letting the process play out. Again, there certainly could be others that are interested in development at that area, but that wouldn't be appropriate necessarily for the HRA to be involved with those discussions. But we're going to make sure that we are in contact with the owners to make sure that we can support that the best that we can. But at this point, nothing concrete as far as any start dates. We like the concept. I think we were all pretty excited about the concept of it. And we're going to continue to work the best we can to try to bring that vision along with them.
So they own the property,
They do.
and they did the demolition,
They did.
and now they're just waiting for some help from the state rate?
Yeah, interest.
State or what?
Well, interest rates are certainly part of that. The borrowing power of what they can actually do as far as the percentages, and that I don't have a crystal ball on when that starts to come in line, but there were a lot of factors that needed to kind of line up, and we had, I would say, 90% of those lined up, ready to go, and one of them didn't go as anticipated. So they're well versed in development. They've done development all over the northern half of the state. So I would trust that they're still working on it. They're not forgetting about it. Again, they've got money that's invested that's not getting a return at this point. I would anticipate that they would want to work on that as quickly as they can. That's the best answer I've got.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, thank you for that update, Eric. Administrator Broyles, thank you for joining us. Do you have any city updates for the board's interest? Okay, thank you very much for being here. Going to commissioner comments. I'm just going to do that. Katie, can we start with you?
Absolutely. I am still very jet lagged and don't know what time zone I'm in. But I was just in Hawaii on my honeymoon and kind of paying attention to different housing all around. We were on the Big Island. And just interesting that being part of this board and doing the work that I do in our community, like now that I'm paying attention when I'm out. But a very big spectrum there of housing in Hawaii. So. And a lot warmer than here.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing these nuggets back from your various either conferences or lived experiences, right? So thank you for that. Yep. Mr. Gasula.
I have nothing.
Well, I strained my neck for that. Thank you. Mr. Erickson.
Oh, I'm excited to be on the board. I'm thankful to have a part over the next few years. Great organization. This has just been super. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Verkota.
Well, thank you for moving me into vice chair. Yeah, let's see where that takes me there. It'll be interesting to do something a little different. Than that, I didn't realize that would be my last check signing. I might have had like a little confetti for Roberta in the office, or a cake or something. So I'll work on something. You can tell her that, Karen. Okay. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you for your continued support. Mm-hmm.
And just for the record, Roberta could use a fun pen for signing.
A fun pen. Okay. Do you have a color preference?
For a fun pen.
think it has to be black or blue and ink, but we can get you something fun. Yeah. You got it.
Well, thank you, everybody. Looking forward to another good year of performance and interesting things and challenges that come with the business and the capable staff who handle those rather nimbly. So that I don't think we've ever seen a hair-raising crisis reach us. So I think that's the buffer, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for all the things that you do to keep our hair on our heads. So with that, I'm looking for, well, the next meeting, excuse me, is the 25th of February here at Chambers, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Ursula?
Is there a second?
Erickson, second. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Second, Imgrid.
And any discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, at 2:01. Britt, thank you.